If you're having problems with having too many hats and scaling your businesses, this episode will definitely inspire you. Today's guest is Caneda, a professional rugby player and entrepreneur. In this episode, we talked about combining different aspects in your life, trying to find and follow your passion, how Lucas and his team are rebranding a French rugby team. They're gaining a lot of followers, creating a social token and empowering the athletes, and much more.
Welcome to the EcomXFactor podcast, where it's all about launching and scaling your business using sales funnels, automations, and smart marketing. And now, please welcome your host, the founder of EcomXFactor, Yaron Been.
Hi Lucas, how are you?
Hey Ron, good, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm very excited for this talk. It's rarely that we have a guest that has a professional background in sports, and I'm very into sports, so I'm looking forward to this conversation and hear about your background as a rugby player and as an entrepreneur these days. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, likewise.
Awesome. So before we just dive into the details, can you share a bit about your background and what you did as a rugby player?
Of course. I was born in Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been into sports. My mom took me when I was 5 to play rugby. Ever since I loved rugby. I quitted when I was young for like a year because I wanted to play football too. But I came straight back because, big differences between one sport and the other, and the values that you learn at rugby, I don't think you get them anywhere else, and that's one of the things I love the most about the sport. Ever since you're a little kid, they tell you about friendship, about values, humility, about the effort that you need to put into things. And those are things that values that I was taught when I was a kid, and I think that they're very important for everything else, not just sports, for business, entrepreneurship, even life. That's one thing that I love about rugby. When I started to grow up, my dream was to become a professional player. Back in Argentina, there were no professional teams, so rugby is amateur back home. So I knew that if I wanted to follow my dream, I had to go somewhere else. I couldn't just stay in Argentina and fulfill my dream. So I was looking for that opportunity, that club that could call me, and when it finally came in 2015, it was a club in France, second division in France, completely professional division. And good thing is I did not hesitate, since that was, I would say, all I wanted. Even though it was a pretty tough call, leave your family, your friends behind, what you've been doing for 25 years, the things that you're used to. But again, that's a life lesson that I'm glad I had, because in order to think outside the box, you need to step outside of that box eventually, and put yourself into a difficult situation and to learn through that process. And I loved it. That was what I've prepared for. That was what I fought for. What I did. What I wanted. Right. So I came to France like 5 or 6 years ago. I'm still here. A bit of a change on the road. I played professional rugby for the first, I would say, year and a half. And I did only that. At one point in time, I thought that was not enough. So I started studying online while I was playing. Still a professional player, but I decided to keep on studying. Because when I was back in Argentina, I was studying engineering, but I could not finish thanks to this opportunity of coming abroad. So I just carried on studying something else, but carried on, which I finished a couple of years back. And then once that was done, I've also figured what's next. There's complete life apart from rugby, even though rugby is my passion and I love what I do. I think you can combine what you'd like on the sports side with your other passions, in this case, business and entrepreneurship. And that's how I joined Unicorn Incubator a year ago, roughly. And how we funded a couple of companies. I worked together with the CEO hand in hand, and we just, we are a startup incubator accelerator in the southwest of France. We are the biggest rural area incubator. We've grown, the last year we've grown from 10 employees to over 60. We expect to have at least 10 more in the next couple of months. We bought a new building of 2,500 square meters. We're building, as I told you before, we're building 4 professional podcast rooms inside, because we love what podcasts do, the reach, the engagement, and actually talking to the audiences. We think it's a very powerful tool, and we enjoy it very much. And I think that's pretty much it in terms of background.
Awesome. I have so many questions. I'm just wondering, where should I start?
Anywhere.
These days, are you still playing? I mean, are you full-time as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I still play. I am still a professional player. In fact, this morning I had an early meeting at 8:30. But we had training too. So I had to adapt some of the things that you also learn to do when you are wearing many hats. So instead of going to training at 8 as everyone else, I went there at 6, did my session, and then came back to work to my meeting at 8. You need to there's some efforts that you need to do sometimes to get things done, and I enjoy doing it.
So I want to focus on this particular aspect for a few minutes, because as I told you before, many of the listeners of the shows are trying to transition between having a 9-to-5 job and starting their own business, and the transition phase is also, it's very crucial, and it's also very demanding, because you get back from your work. You had your boss demanding a lot of stuff, and you had the business meeting, and your brain is kind of fried. And you now need to sit down and build your store or study or do something in order to develop your entrepreneurship journey. And some people find it very hard. So all the people find it very hard, but some people overcome this challenge. So as someone who has many hats, and especially being a professional athlete, it means also taking care of your nutrition, taking care of your fitness. So it's very demanding. So can you share a bit about how you're doing this? And like what went through your mind when you started doing the entrepreneurship with being the rugby player?
Yeah, sure. I think first and foremost, it is complicated. Yes. And you need to accept that. Running a business, having a job, being an athlete, it is hard, it is complicated, and you need to face that challenge, and you need to be able to put effort into it. We'd like to say, roll up your sleeves and get to work. And that's exactly it. It does not come easy. But the first thing is if you know that, you're already well prepared. And then one of the things that I think that's crucial is to actually find your passion. That makes everything easier. If you do what you do because you love it, because you're passionate about it, and it's a lot easier to dedicate time to it. It does not come in as a burden. Quite the opposite. In fact, you enjoy what you do and you spend a lot more time than you should. I don't consider myself actually, I would say, working or at a job or when I'm doing what I do, because I love it. So I think that changes everything, because when you struggle to go to work, when you have a 9-to-5 job but you just can't wait to get off, that's usually not going to work. That's probably the first sign to change what you're doing, to understand and to know that what you're doing is not what you're supposed to be doing. It's not your passion. So start thinking about a plan B, plan C. Have a backup plan, a backup idea, fund your own business, change jobs, find your passion, look for what you love. Because once you find that, and I consider myself very, very lucky, because I think most of the people struggle a lot to find what they like to do. Well, once you find it, it becomes easier to do what it takes. It's not easier to succeed or to find your way. In fact, it's very complicated, but it's a bit simpler to do it, because you don't think that as a burden, as a 9-to-5 job, but you think it as something that you like to do, and you just invest as much time as it's needed. Because that, again, if you're thinking about entrepreneurship, a 9-to-5 would never be enough. Especially at the beginning, there's lots and lots of things to do. You don't have the funds to have lots of people doing it for you. And it's usually not a good idea if you did not do it yourself before. To have other people doing it for you might usually not work, because they are not invested as you are. So just be aware that there's lots of things to do, and that you should do it. I mean, there's no other way.
And on a tactical level, so do you plan your week or like beforehand, or how do you maintain your schedule, or like some more tactical productivity-wise advice do you have in this regard of shuffling many hats?
Yes, I like to think that while we are at the office, that's probably 9-to-5. That's the time I'm the least productive, I would say, because there's lots of people and lots of things going on, lots of things to start fixing or questions to be answered. So what I usually do is I come in early, I leave late, and I actually love that hour and a half, sometimes a bit more, that I start working before time, so I can actually get things done before everyone gets here. So I have everything for the day a bit organized. And then at the end of the day, I'd like to just wrap it up, finish whatever I had missing, and also start planning ahead for the next day. And usually what we do is, instead of doing Monday like meetings or Monday planning for the next week, we usually do it on Fridays. Because I do think that if you give people that like information before the weekend, and they can think about it and get themselves at least mentally ready for Monday to just go and attack, and don't waste time. And
great.
I'd say that.
I love this tip. I don't implement this. I'm not planning in the weekend, but for me, I do find much more powerful when I plan the night ahead, the next day, because once I wake up, no planning, like you said, I immediately go and attack the task. Yeah. So I found it very, very powerful. I want to also focus about one thing that you said, find what you love and do this, because I know it sounds like in a way, it sounds like a simple advice. It's not so easy to recognize what you love. But for me, I did like last year, I did like my first bodybuilding show. And I remember in the prepping to the show, it was like 4 months, which I felt like I was on a cloud. I was so happy. And I felt like everything was flowing, everything was amazing. And then I realized that this is something that I love doing. And as you said, it's not a burden. You just want to do it more and more and more. So I kind of guess that if you look at on the opposite, if you don't feel this way, as if you're on a cloud or you really love what you're doing, so probably you didn't find yet what you would like to do in your life. So I don't have any specific advice for finding this except of eliminating a lot of other choices. But I think that once you find it, once you found the rugby or once I found the bodybuilding, you know it's your thing. So this is something that I wanted to bring up, and also in regards.
I agree. And a piece of advice: try things out. I mean, there's no way to identify what you like if you're not trying different things. If you're just sticking with the same thing for 25 years and you don't like it, that's probably a bad sign.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So just trying a lot of stuff and eliminating and seeing. You just have to eliminate. It's via negative, right? Like a principle. And if we're already talking about principles, so what are so you mentioned the values from rugby that you learned, but can you elaborate a bit about this? Like any stories from the rugby that you learned when you were in childhood that now when you go into a business meeting, you realize, oh, this thing that I learned this lesson already in the rugby, and now I see it in the business. So do you have any examples of this stuff?
Yeah, I think there are a couple at least. And one of the first I would like to say is that rugby or sports in general, you need to be able to take a hit and stand back up. Because again, especially in rugby, it's like two teams facing each other, hitting each other, tackling, pushing, and then it's never perfect. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But the idea is to learn from that process and keep going, keep pushing, keep training hard, keep doing something extra. If you don't do extra things, you cannot be extraordinary. You'll just be like everyone else. And when you work with startups, that's the mentality that you need. You need to be able to keep pushing, to go that extra mile, to just do what it takes to make your business succeed. Because if you're not doing it, nobody will do it for you. And again, I think that lesson that I learned through rugby, I don't know, when I was young, I was told that I would never become a professional player because I was too small. I'm sorry to tell you, but that actually helps me to even want it more. It's not going to pull me down. Quite the opposite. It's going to drive me further to prove you wrong. And okay, 30 years later, I'm here and I've been playing professional rugby for the past 6 years. It might not have worked, but at least that competitor spirit, I think it's a must whenever you want to become an entrepreneur. Whenever you want to fund a business, you need to have a little bit of that light, of that energy inside you to at least want to become better as a person, but also to develop your business further, to develop in your case, your bodybuilding career further. You need to be able to keep pushing. And I mean, you've done, how do you call them? Those sets where you need to be doing 10, but you know that you can only do 6. And okay, but there's 4 more to go and you need to keep pushing. There's no other way. it's that mentality that you need in order to just grow.
Yeah, I totally agree. But when it comes to pushing forward, so I 100% agree with the fact that you need to push forward, and you either, there's the saying, you win or you learn. But sometimes I'm wondering what if you need maybe to pivot and change that direction, because it's good that you need to always move forward, but sometimes maybe the direction that you're going isn't necessarily the right direction. So can you share, like, do you have an examples that come to mind that you're doing things in a certain manner and then you decided, okay, there's no point in just pushing harder and harder, maybe I need to work smarter and change the direction? Do you have any examples that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think pivoting is very interesting, and you need to be able to adapt. You need to be able to find your way. But again, I don't think one goes without the other, because changing directions, it's very important in every business, because you don't want to keep pushing in the wrong direction, in the wrong road. But again, changing directions requires a lot of effort, a lot of discipline, and a lot of actually understanding that you need to change what you originally thought. And that change is usually one of the most complicated ones. That's a change that we many of our clients struggle with. We like to tell them, and especially our CEO, he usually says that he cannot tell you what to do, but he can say what not to, because he's done it and tried it before, and it does not work. So usually some people come with great business plans, good proof of concept, but they fail to understand the client's perspectives. For instance, that happened to us with a client like last month. They had great project, great, not just an idea, because we don't work with only ideas. We work with some, we usually ask 3 questions. That's a proof of concept, a couple clients, and that they've convinced at least someone from their family to invest a little bit in their business, to believe in the company that they are creating. Because if they don't convince, if you don't convince your grandmother, how are you going to convince ourselves or your next investor? And what he had in place was very, very good, but he failed to put it into the client's perspective. I mean, he was running something amazing, but he could not give it to the clients in a way that the clients will understand how to use it. That's something you need to keep in mind. I mean, in any business, you need to sell to survive, to thrive. If you don't have sales, in one point in time, you're bankrupt, and then that's it. There's no coming back. So you always need to have that, how am I going to sell whatever I'm producing? What service am I giving? How do I sell it? That's why in here we work, would say, in a different fashion or in a specific fashion. Our business model is a bit different than the others. So the 2 things. First, sales first. So nothing happens before we make a sell. And second thing is, we would say we don't move a finger till we get paid. We've been burned before. People tell a good client saying, no, we'll pay in a couple months. We'll pay. Yeah, no, don't worry. We've been working together for so long. We'll pay in 60 days, 90, 180, and then boom, nothing. And that happened once, a big time to our funder many years ago. And since then, he took the initiative of just calling all of his clients and telling them, okay, we are only working whenever you pay first. First 3 calls, client said, I'm sorry, but we can't do that. He thought we were going out of business. Next 3, they said, of course, that's totally understandable, no problem. And the end result was that we kept the best clients. Actually, it was very productive because we can focus a lot more. And since then, we carry on with that feeling, with that philosophy, I would say. And also, it allows us to pick our clients a lot better. So in average, 9 out of 10 times we just say no. Not because we are stubborn or selfish, but mainly because we think there's not enough synergy between ourselves to work together. And we do think that that's very important because first, we're not here to waste time, not ours and not our clients. So we believe it's very important to actually provide added value whenever we invest ourselves with our client. That's one of the first questions that we ask ourselves is, what are we going to do in order to provide added value to what they are doing already? And if we don't have a very good answer to that question, then it means we're not made to be working together, not yet at least. And we prefer to just be honest about it and save us both a lot of time. And I think it's much more productive, even though sometimes some people don't appreciate that much honesty. Well, that's who we are.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's very important to qualify, especially in the service. When you're providing services, you have to qualify your customers, and if there is no a good compatibility between you and your customers, there's no point. So I totally agree with you in regards to the honesty aspect and not lifting a finger before getting paid. One thing I have 2 questions that come to mind, but we'll split them up. So you mentioned regarding the sales, if there are no sales, so you don't move forward. So this makes a lot of sense. But on the other hand, for me and a lot of other people, it's kind of challenging because on the other hand, you want also to invest and plant seeds. So how do you balance the investing and long-term thinking when you don't see money like ROI positive after one day in opposing to getting the sales?
Well, I do think there's, I would say, a bit different. Planting seeds, that's building relationships, that's speaking to people, to audiences like we're doing right now. That's planting seeds. Getting yourself good leads, getting yourself exposed to more people, getting your word out. That's a way of expanding. In terms of investing and building relationships, there's always different ways of leveraging that and working together. It does not always need to be money. You need to think outside the box. And sometimes there's partnerships that can be done that are a win-win situation for both. And actually, those are the relationships that we build. We are firm believers in long-term relationships, even though many of our clients hire us for specific things, and we don't mind. We do it nonetheless. But we love having long-term relationships, and lots of our clients like that very much and just keep coming back. And that's the idea. It's not just you hiring for once, but actually getting into this relationship. And in order for you to get that, you need to have a win-win situation. If one of the sides is benefiting, but the other is not, then one point in time, you get tired and that relationship will get broken pretty easily. And then when it comes to sales, I would put it in a different way. if you go buy a T-shirt, or would they give it to you if you don't pay?
For sure, no.
If you buy a plane ticket, would you let you jump into the plane without paying? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And this is the same thing. This is a service. We provide services. We provide incubation, acceleration, marketing, article syndication, SEO, ASO, customer acquisition. Again, if you don't pay, we have a whole team that's going to be working for your campaign. And I just can't make my team work on that before I actually get paid, because I have other clients that are paying to get their things done, which up to now have the priority because they've paid. And that's, I think that's normal. And that comparison against buying a T-shirt or a plane ticket or whatever, it's the same thing at the end of the day. Why should we be working? Because we always tell our clients, would you do it the other way around? Would you give someone this for free?
For sure.
And they usually say no. So, well, neither do I.
I agree. So can you share a bit about what you've been doing in regards to marketing and helping like e-commerce stores or other services that use your marketing services?
Yes, sure. Allow me to present you the Sala Rugby. This is our rugby club, local club, that we took over a year ago. At the beginning, we were just a small sponsor. Then we became the largest sponsor. And then the president, a good friend of us, came to us and said, hey, we're struggling, COVID, whatnot. Do you guys have any idea of what can we do with the club to keep it going? And because I don't think we'll have a next season if we don't do something. We gave ourselves 2 days to analyze the whole situation, and then we've identified lots of things that we would like to improve. But we said if we do it, we just take over as a whole, and we do it our way, and we don't do it just to survive. That's not the way we are. We are competitors, and we believe in exponential growth. And that's how we took this startup in. We're not here just to keep the status quo. We're here to make a change, make a difference. And we set up big objectives. We are currently in the 5th division in France, rugby-wise. I would like to go into the 2nd division in the next 5 to 7 years, which is very, very aggressive objective. But we're not just saying that. We are actually giving ourselves the means to achieve that. How? Well, we started at the bottom. That's usually how we suggest it should be done. Get the lower hanging fruit, get it done, get the easy stuff going at the beginning. So first thing, we did a name change, because the old name, we asked many people, what does the club do? Of course, we play rugby. Okay, where does it? Where is it? Sala, what do you mean? Well, I've got good and bad news for you. Those 2 words are not on the name today. So that's how we came with Sala Rugby. It sounds pretty easy, but for us in the digital marketing space, it's it's a must to have that on our name to reflect what we are doing. And we are focusing on brand awareness. So again, if you don't have a name that gets that done, you'll never do it. And the next step was the logo. Logo look a bit old, and I'm being nice here. So we did a complete rebrand in terms of logo, in terms of image, colors. Sorry. We kept the essentials for the old schools, but with a whole new revamp. And then we started from that, and then we would like to what we would like to call that exponential curve. So we designed a website, which we currently have in 3 different languages, which is pretty nice. Not many teams, not even professional teams, have that much. We are building a 4th language, so we have Spanish, French, and English today. We are building our German site too. Into our site, we've introduced an e-store, which is something that the audience here probably enjoys a lot. And the first thing that we did with that e-store is make it look at least exactly the same as the other professional teams. So if you go into our e-store right now, you can't see the difference between a professional team from the 1st division and us, a small team.
Nice.
So that's one of the first things I would say, the visual impact. In an image says 1,000 words. That you probably heard that. Same happens with video. So we have our internal video and photo production team. So we do everything in here in-house. And next point was, what are we offering? I mean, what do we have to sell? And I think we had almost nothing. In fact, the first time we came in, they were actually selling jerseys like 4 or 5 or 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
Like, there's no point. And there were different colors. There were different logos on those T-shirts. I mean, there's a complete mess. So we took over. We had the contacts straight with the factories, straight with the producers to get all that stuff done for us. And today we, apart from just selling the rugby jersey, we're selling, I think I have my hoodie on from our club today. And we have over 25 different products. Because again, you need to be able to identify what the people want, what the people are looking for, and give it to them. And actually present your brand and make that connection. One of the reasons why we decided to invest ourselves into that is because Sarlat is a very small town. We are roughly 10,000 people living here all year, but we are the 7th most visited town in France. We receive between 2 and 3 million tourists every year. And I think the first time we came, there's a big market in here, at least 2 or 3 times a week. And there's no souvenirs from Sarlat to bring back home. And as a tourist, the first thing that you're looking for is, what is it that I'm going to take back home to my grandchildren, to my grandparents, to my dad, to my niece, whoever, right? You want to bring something back. And that's how we thought about not just rugby gear, rugby equipment, but lots of different things. We've got our bags, we've got our water bottles, umbrellas. I don't know, there's 20, 25 different products that we're currently selling. So that's one of the things that we focused a lot on. And then a good thing that we identified is, okay, where does our community come from? So, of course, there's a good local community, but since we are a digital, in the digital marketing space, we want to become a worldwide brand. That's our objective. That's what we're building. We've actually signed 62 different TV, broadcast, OTT, streaming agreements for our club in the US, in Canada, the UK, Latin America. So we know that we can get that those eyeballs all around the globe. So then when we built our e-store, we actually have a plugin that allows you to have worldwide shipping. And that's very important because you need to identify where your customers come from and give them the opportunity that they are looking for. So the more you know your clients, the more you can provide those solutions that they are desperately looking for. So let's say we, in September, we have our championship that starts mid-September. We will have a live game. That game will be seen by at least 100K people all around the world. And, we can put a link into that streaming agreement that we have that takes you to the e-store and actually allows you to buy the jersey that you're watching your players use at the first game. And those kind of connections, those kind of, I like to call it brand awareness and brand identification, because we'd like our community to get identified with our brand, not just our club, but a brand that's much more stronger than just that. And then make your community become fans, drive them nuts about what you're doing. And when that connection gets there, that's when you need to give them that opportunity to become part of what you're doing, to support their brand somehow, like buying a jersey, buying a water bottle, getting a solo rugby mask, which I don't think I have right now with me. But I mean, those kind of things that you can actually send to the world and make people all around use your stuff. Thanks to e-commerce today, that's something that can be done.
This is fascinating. And it sounds very interesting to connect between the brand and the sports team. I've never dived into like creating brands that are related to sports. But a question that I want to ask you is kind of a theoretical question. How important is the quality of the team, of the players in this whole brand building thing?
Of course, it goes hand by hand. You need good players to have good objectives to go up. You need to have the brand to make them identify your community to that brand, to actually get the sponsors that you need to get those players. So it's a process that we are currently doing, and it's going pretty good. But, you know, they need to go hand by hand. Again, nothing happens before the sales get done, because you need the money to hire better players. At the end of the day, that's a reality that many people don't like to talk about. But it is how it is, and it's a fact that better players are paid more. So you need to get more money in. And thanks to all this distribution that we have, all these agreements that we got, for instance, we've took over the Facebook account, and I think 9 months ago we had 1,500 followers. Today we have over 140K. In 9 months. We expect to have at least 250K by the beginning of the season. And once our live games are on, with all the efforts that we are building our relationships with streaming and TV station agreements, we are confident that we will break the 1 million mark. Again, we are all about building communities.
So it's interesting, because for me, what I would have thought, intuitively, so once you have a good team and good players and producing great results, then you go ahead, you build the website, you build the Facebook, and the fans will be attracted. But in this case, you're kind of flipping this, in a way, you're flipping this around. You create the brand awareness, you make great distribution, and then based on this, you want to improve the quality of the team and hire better players. So it's just an interesting perspective.
Yeah, it's always the chicken and the egg story, but
Exactly.
the eggs comes first. So you need to get the money in, you need to get the brand ready for whatever you're doing. And then you can think about building a stronger team that can actually perform. But how do you build your team if you don't have the funds, if you don't have the brand, the club ready to face that challenge? It will never work. There's plenty of examples of clubs that tried doing it that way. At one point in time, whenever their president stopped just pushing in money, they just went bankrupt. And that's not a sustainable business model. And since we took this club as one of our startups, even though it's 118 years old, we would never suggest that to one of our clients, one of our own startups. That's why we build it that way.
Nice. What are the players or the coach? What are like the professional people in the club think about all this media stuff? Or can they connect, or they want just to do their stuff and not really be involved in the marketing?
That's a great question, because we built a device that we call Rugby Plus, which is actually giving the players the possibility to become professional players, but also to build their careers at the same time. We've hired, I think, roughly 20 people that will be working and playing at the same time. The beauty about what we do here internally is that we can adapt their working hours into whatever fits best into playing and working. And one of the reasons that we've done it is to create that compromise between what we're doing on and off the pitch. And it works wonderful in terms of engaging those people into they can see what they are doing on both sides, and they feel a part of the brand as a whole. And that they know that whatever they do inside the pitch and outside of the pitch go all together into this whole big project that we are building together. And whenever you get that involvement from the people that work with you, the results are usually a lot better. And that's why we built it that way.
Amazing. I also think it's a win-win situation for them, because let's take you as an example. So once you played rugby, and then you wanted to transition also do other stuff, and there are a lot of sports players that then when they retire, they don't know what's next. So in a way, helping the players create a personal brand and developing their careers and giving them tools for the day after they retire, it's a win-win situation, which is amazing and also fascinating and original, in my opinion. So
exactly. And that's one of the main reasons why we get at least 50 CVs a day from rugby players that they want to join the team.
Cool.
It's amazing. For people from all over. I mean, we get people from Latin America, from the States, from Canada, UK, all over that want to join us because they understand what we are doing, what we are building, and that they want to be a part of this, what I like to call an excellent adventure, because it is challenging. It is an adventure. I mean, we are building something huge, I would say, from scratch, and being a part of it from the beginning, it's actually a very nice challenge and a very nice to be a part of, and something you can feel proud afterwards. I was part of Salo Rugby since the beginning, and look where we started, look where we are right now.
Awesome. This is very inspiring and interesting. Is there anything else that you wanted to bring up, or any questions that I forgot to answer before we wrap things up?
I would say that, yes, I would actually like to talk about what we built with Sala Rugby, what we've proven to be possible, because that's usually one of the things that we get. One of the negative replies we sometimes get is, "Oh, that's not possible." Okay, sorry to tell you, but we've done it already. Here's the proof. Here's Sala Rugby. Look at our social media, our website, our merchandise, our sponsoring, our TV agreements, our brand, our logo. It can be done, and we will keep pushing. I think today we are the 5th club in France in terms of social engagement, social
Amazing.
like Facebook. And we are a very small club, right? So it can be done. And this is why we funded Challenger X. This is actually a company that it provides a SaaS, so software as a service, to give all those amateur clubs out there, semi-professional clubs that want to push further, that want to go the extra mile and to actually get into the next level, give them the opportunity to look professional, to do things like professional clubs do with our sport, no matter what sport they are playing or where they are in the world. We can help them out. And in fact, our company, it's going to be listed in the Aquis Exchange in London in the next coming weeks, which shows how crazy and how I would say innovative this company is, and how we would like things to scale pretty big. And what we call the cherry on the top, which is a bit of a surprise maybe, is that today we are in a position that we can mint a social token for whatever club we choose to in 15 minutes.
Wow.
We've done it with Sarla already. So we own the Sarla token. We have not yet marketed because we think we are waiting a couple more weeks, but it's soon going to be out there for everyone to trade and to participate. And these social tokens will give clubs a whole different edge in terms of community building, because of course it all comes back to that, but also into engaging their community and making that community becoming actual fans. Give them the benefit of owning a social token of their club, the club that they love, making stuff with it, because it's not just a token that gives you, it's not just speculation. It's actually it gives you utility. You will be able to go to the e-store, for instance, and buy something with that token. You will be able to share some stuff on Facebook and get rewards in tokens. You can also, for instance, we had a guy asking, because he wanted, he loves one of our players. He wanted to have a video from him wishing him happy birthday. And that gave us the idea that we can actually put, like, if you own X amount of tokens, you can get this reward, or you can participate to this shuffle. Those are all written on the small contracts that you do with tokenization. That can be done. And the beauty about it is that you can do, I would say, anything you want. So I don't know. And when I was telling one of our guys the other day, wouldn't you love to make the kickoff of one of the games, like, actually a physical game in here, in front of 2,000 people and 100 people watching the live stream? Wouldn't you be the one Wouldn't you love to be the one doing the kickoff? It's like, yes, of course. Okay, we can build that up to make a shuffle, for instance, for everyone owning X amount of tokens, and then just give you the possibility to win that opportunity. That would be amazing. I mean, people would love that.
Amazing. This is so creative and very inspiring. It gives me a lot of ideas of stuff that I would like to look up after the interview. That's it for today. Do you have any other thing? Where can people look up? Where can people connect to you? Where can people listen or read more about the Sarlat Rugby Club?
I'd say that best way to connect with me would be through LinkedIn. So just search for Lucas Caneda. That's LucasCaneda. And I also invite you to join our site. It's challengerx.io. Lots of news coming soon, and keep posted.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lucas. Have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you, Ron. Happy to be at your show.
Thank you.